Hello guys, I am Levrone and I have the pleasure to talk to a bodybuilding icon in Kevin Levrone. Hi Kevin.
Hi.
You held a seminar just a few minutes ago, it's over, and you told us a lot about your life, about your training. What was the turning point in your life? You said you had death in the family.
I think when we're born. God already knows the beginning and the end. You know, He's the Alpha and the Omega, right? We just have to go for the ride. Unfortunate tragedies happen in this world, and I do believe that there's good in all things.
And who was your inspiration in the beginning? Did you
My inspiration
have someone?
was in the bodybuilding community.
Yes, in the bodybuilding. For example,
Of course,
Steve
Arnold
Hayes or
Schwarzenegger.
Arnold.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was a huge inspiration. Lee Haney was a huge inspiration. I started studying Mr. Olympias in the sport. Joe Weir and what he had done and the stories, how he had taken champions and made them like mega champions. So I kind of gravitated towards that. But also it was an individual sport to where it's up to you to make something happen if it's going to happen. So I drew my inspiration from all the champions before me. You know, still draw inspiration from them to this day. But I also draw inspiration from everyday people, everyday human beings, whether they're homeless, successful or homeless. Everyone's inspiring. We're all God's children. We all can inspire one another. We don't necessarily have to have a title to do that. You know, we could just have life to do that. Life inspires life. As long as you love and you look for the good and love in people and you give them the time that they deserve. I've been inspired by homeless people on the street who absolutely had nothing. I sat down and I talked to them, and I've learned strength, and I've learned a lot from them. So life is an inspiration.
One of the things that I remember, I don't know if it's correct, that you said that you like to surprise your body and you don't, maybe it's wrong, that you don't have a straight vision what you're gonna do today, but when you go to the gym you decide, okay, I will train, I will do this exercise and this, because in Dorian was the opposite. He wrote everything in a diary and he knew what he's gonna do next week or next month or whatever. Is that true, or maybe it's a myth?
That's true. Our brains, we process things different. You're different than me. Mm-hmm. You know, for me, I always go by how I feel. How I feel, living in the moment. Tomorrow's mystery. You know, yesterday's over, done, can't change it. But today is all we have, right? Today, right now. We didn't plan this interview, but it's happening. So today, right now, we couldn't write down what was going to happen right now because I didn't know this was going to happen. So I think living in the moment. Living in the moment, man, is the most powerful thing for me.
And that was your philosophy in training as well. The way you feel. You actually in the seminar mentioned that I think there was a question about diet and what if you're on a strict diet and you want to eat something and you said you have to listen to your body.
Yeah, you have to listen to the body. Let's see, man can write everything down in life that he wants. But one thing that you know, we don't know when the time is coming for us to be ill. You know, we don't know when the time is coming for us to pass away, go to heaven, and we don't know when our last day is here. So man can plan all you want, but ultimately God is the one that makes that decision. So for me, I like living in the moment in the spiritual realm of things. And the spiritual realm of things is where you find what you need to do, and you find direction, you know, in that realm. So for me, I let the Spirit guide me, I let the Spirit lead me, and I let the Spirit feed my spirit what it needs and it wants for me to do. You know, I knew we were having a seminar here today, but I couldn't write down how the seminar would go. I just had to show up and let the Spirit guide me from the human beings that I'm around, you know, because life is a spiritual battle. There's good and there's evil. How does the good overcome the evil? That's what the earth is. It's a battle going on. So us as human beings, you know, we just have to know our role, play that role, and operate in it. I always operate in it. I always operate in love. No matter where I'm at, I try to bring a piece of me to that person, so that they leave with a piece of me, you know, a good message. I never wrote my sets and stuff down in the gym because I just didn't need to. I had it already mentally in me what was going to happen. I just had to show up and go through the motions. So that's what I did.
Yeah, different paths.
Yeah.
You took different paths in Dorian, but it led you to the top of Mr. Olympia.
Mm-hmm.
And you were twice second after the 6-time winner Dorian, and twice second after the 8-time winner Ronnie Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
You never got the first place, but you had the record of winning most pro shows at your time. And you said that you did that after tearing a pectoral muscle.
Yes.
How's that possible?
Anything is possible, I guess. If you believe you can do anything, you can do it. You know, but also realize that winning isn't everything, but losing is nothing. You know, and far too often losing is a choice. And I think people need to choose wisely. You know, I absolutely hated losing more probably than I loved winning. You know, because I trained too hard to let somebody else be the victor ahead of me. You know, and I've always, but through it all, I've always followed my instincts, and it's never led me wrong. So those losses, or those moments, that's what led me to continue to move forward and win every other show in the world that I possibly could win, and ended up having. I might not be Mr. Olympia, but I have one of the best records in professional bodybuilding history, and nobody can take that away. So that's an accomplishment within itself. I would take that journey instead of having one Mr. Olympia or 6 Mr. Olympias or 8. My path that was chosen for me, that's what carries me through life. And I embrace it, I love it, and I wouldn't change anything for it in the world, because if I had won the Mr. Olympia back in 1992, I would have just stopped bodybuilding.
That was your goal, and after achieving it,
my goal was to be Mr. Olympia. That was my goal. But God's goal and my goal is two different things.
Actually, that really reminds me of Tyson Fury after beating Vitaly Klitschko and winning all the titles in boxing. He had no motivation, and he went into a deep depression because he achieved his goal. And after that, he didn't care about life anymore. And he had to go through this hard period.
So I knew I wanted to be Mr. Olympia, but I just kept chasing that. Then when I realized, okay, that's not going to happen, so I just competed in every other show, every show around the world after Olympia. We'd go on European tours. Spain, Italy, Germany, France, Russia, Holland, Czechoslovakia. And then I was just doing this whole thing.
Win them all.
And now look, the nutritional company started. 95% of my shows were won in Europe. not in the USA. I only won 4 shows in America. Every other show was, all my other shows were won outside of America. After this crazy pec injury, and started a nutritional company. We're over 90 different countries now, not even in America right now. So I think all along, when you live in that purpose and you stop planning and you start living, you know, and God, what should I do? God, what's going to happen? God, what do I? Then you're fine. And when you put those puzzles together, all of a sudden, big picture, and it's like, wow. Now I see why I didn't win Mr. Olympia, because it wasn't for me. God wanted me to keep doing this other thing for 14 years to build a foundation so I can go to all these countries around the world and motivate people. So it's not about what we want. Sometimes we get in the way.
You want to say that you have a bigger win than Mr. Olympia, that you found your purpose, that you can impact more people.
So that's why I say winning isn't everything. You know.
You surprised everybody in the bodybuilding world when 2016 you went again to Olympia at what age? 52?
3, I believe.
53.
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger in Levrone, when at
He
the
was
age
40,
of 40 something,
42.
42, and it was, everybody was, wow, it's amazing at this age to compete at that stage, and you beat him by 10, 11 years or something. Amazing.
That was a good experience. I was driven from fans wanting me to come back, and I'm glad I did do it. You know, it was one of the most memorable Mr. Olympias I've ever competed. Again, you know, winning isn't everything. So I didn't place first, I placed last. But I'm the guy that did win. I'm the one that everybody talked about.
Yes.
By getting dead last, you know. So it wasn't about winning, it's about the purpose. It's about what it is that you do with the opportunity in front of you. How do you maximize that and not make it about you, but make it about the people? And that's what I did.
Yes. Do you think that we as humans, this is something that I personally believe, that we have higher potential that actually we are using, and we are limiting ourselves sometimes?
Man limits themselves to his thoughts and the things that the eyes see and that the ears pick up, you know. I always just, you know, sometimes we get in the way of our own lives because we don't understand our life. So we push, we try to do things that we want and that we see and that we hear others doing. That's the problem with human society.
And we are doing things that we actually don't like very often, just because it's expected.
Have you ever done anything that you didn't like? Ever worked a job you didn't like?
Yes, I would say yes.
You ever lived in an environment or whatever that you didn't like?
Then you have to change. You have to make the change. And some people, I think, don't have the strength to do that. They think that's what is expected from them. They are afraid of taking risks.
Or they take on other characteristics of what they hear and what they see, and they try to become things that is non-existent, and they try to be like others. That's the problem. When we're born in our own unique, specific way, and we're born perfect in every single way. It's that when we start developing into life, is that when we start getting off track because of the things we see, the things that we hear and smell. And that's when, you know, the devil comes in and takes us off track of our true purpose of what God wants us to be in life.
Do you have contacts with some of the stars from this time? I mean, like Dorian Lex or Sean Ray?
We all communicate, you know, on a weekly basis, probably monthly basis. So that, they're still there. You know, we're at a different level now. You know, we're moved on and we're getting older, and we just want to motivate and help people. So, but we're all doing it in our own lane, in our own path, in our own way.
You're talking about the change and the need of leadership on this seminar. Do you think that there is a lack of leaders at this moment?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But why do you think that is so?
Because
Do
they've
you
gotten
think that
away
the
from God.
quality-
Man's gotten away from God. He's gotten away from God. Dissing himself from that. So that's why there's a lack of leadership. Where there's a lack of God, there's chaos everywhere. You know, the understanding of it. You know? So that's what we gotta get back to.
Okay, thank you
Peace,
very
guys.
much for
One
this
love, man.
interview.
Thank you.
Thank you, it was
All
a
right.
pleasure.